Before I met our friends at DeliberateU, I had a faith perspective. I knew a lot about God, but I would say I did not know Him personally. The community of business owners that I'm now involved with is such a huge support. It's so nice to know that there is a community of like-minded individuals. They want to help, they want to pray for you. It's a wealth of knowledge to tap into. It's a beautiful community to feel supported by, and I'm so grateful for that.
Before I met up with DeliberateU, my faith was present but weak. I think I felt more like the Sunday bench warmer at times than the Christian in the field, as you get tucked away into a business that is a hard, thriving, fast-paced environment. It was quite often so difficult to connect with the faith other than stop on Saturday and we're going to church on Sunday. My original contact with DeliberateU was when we hit that point of we have a discontent among our team. We found out that the processes DeliberateU has used is not only brilliant for a business perspective, but the overall message of faith was a very important piece to bring it all together. To know where God belongs in your business, and that has to be the center point to me. God has to be in the center of your business, as we are stewards of the business that we have been entrusted with.
So one of the things DeliberateU has done recently is formed a monthly mentoring group of small business owners. And while we're all have different businesses that we do and different employees, there is some commonality amongst us. And what's been really neat in that setting is realizing that, yeah, we're not alone. We all have the same issues. It may be a little different flavor, but at the core it is the same thing. And that's just been really neat to come alongside and realize that we're not alone. We're actually in this all together, and we all have very similar issues.
Another cool thing about being involved in the DeliberateU community is that now there's like-minded folk who are helping to keep me accountable. And so whenever I run into one of these patterns of a work and life mismatch, there's people who care about me to say, hey, does that line up with what you really want to do?
And it's such a relieving environment that we can go to our brothers and say, well, here's what I'm dealing with. And then we're able just to pray for one another going around the circle, which was a new thing for me.
I got into a pretty bad place, and we're really working on right now is getting a schedule put out for me, and also getting some of that solitude and some of that rest into my life so that I can come into my home and my business with some energy.
As we learn to become and step into not only who we are, but whose we are, and embrace that more and more fully in an ever-increasing way, that more good can happen.
So some of the results that I've seen working with DeliberateU and the MasterMinds group, especially on the people side, is the engagement of the team. And one of the, recently I had a letter, an email from one of the wives, just telling me how much change they've seen in their husband and how he shows up at home, how he talks, the engagement, and the great stories that he shares at his dinner table. And for me, that is really great. It just speaks of how things at AKS are reaching out beyond the company and getting into the families of those that work with us.
So I want to share with you two big impact areas that working with the DeliberateU Mastermind group has had on my life. The first one would be just a prioritizing of my time about what's most important. And the second one would be the bottom line net profit for our business. So the first one comes from a process called the 168, which talks about 168 hours a week, and that's all you have to work on and to spend time on what is most important. And so what that's helped me to do is to spend focused time with each one of my kids. So every week I have a night in my calendar where I take one of them out and we have time together. And so that's a huge difference from how it was, because I would just give random kids random time whenever it was available, which for me was not very often. And so now I feel like way better. I'm actually a dad for them, and I'm actually preparing them for the world that they need to grow up in. The second part about net profit is prior to doing this work, we would wait till the year end, and then we'd have a discussion with the accountant and say, hey, you guys did well or didn't do well this year, and that would be it. But now I can tell you that from last year to this year, we had actually a 9% growth in the net profit. And that, I would say, is attributed to the sales training that we got, so the ability to articulate the value of what we do in the marketplace, so we can identify with the right clients, the right kind of people who are looking for what kind of thing that we're offering. And the second one is just pricing. The model that we were using wasn't lining up with what we wanted in terms of goals for profit. When we do better, I can care for the staff more, and that was my heart when I first connected with DeliberateU, and so we're starting to realize some of these goals.
On the business side, there's been a lot of work done in improving processes, implementing processes, and we've seen huge reductions in wasted hours, and eventually that all affects the bottom line, and we've seen improvements as much as 20% on the bottom line in some areas.
We've seen employee engagement really increase. Our one key guy, for example, has been with us for 22 years. In the last year, he has really engaged with having felt that he's been listened to and that his ideas are worthy. Some of that is actually quite good, and it's been neat to see him engage in growing our sales. And to see him now, as compared to a year ago, where he's actually doing sales, has been really neat. Our sales have increased about 33% in the last year, and our net profit has went from flat line around zero, a little bit negative, to about 7%. So we're really looking forward to what we can continue to build on this coming year.
After working with DeliberateU for 2 years now, I've seen a lot of changes at the shop. For the shop, it's the employees take a lot of ownership these days on the daily processes happening at RDK. They've stepped up to the plate, allowing me to put more space into being involved in the business at a higher level, development of the business, future growth, etc. So we've seen a very eager team taking that ownership and really flourishing with that. From the home front, it's a little different. It's also positive. Having that time that everything is taken care of in the business means I get more time to spend with my children. Life with my wife has become better because I'm more present at the dinner table. It's no longer about work, but I'm present in the family at dinner time. So the relationship at home has definitely improved.
Anybody who's been feeling the way I've been feeling around a heart for people, but not knowing exactly how to get that done, or a nudging of the spirit, say there is a kingdom way to do it. If you're looking around and you're saying, this is not the right way, I know there's a better way, I would invite you to talk to our friends at DeliberateU, to share your story and see how you can be guided to find your purpose into God's plan for you.